Greetings. I once again apologize to interrupt your daily viewing pleasure for this important announcement. Greetings! Welcome back everybody, I'm Halfway Gaming and it's time we complete episode 4 of our Void Storyteller RimWorld series. Today things might get a little weird. With that said, let's begin. With the monument having been started, a new prisoner, and countless raids in the last episode, we can start out with the first room of the monument being enclosed and roofed. As you can see here, the colonists' moods are being lowered by the awful barracks, and an unsightly environment. It only makes sense to make this a bedroom. It seems that nothing happens for the rest of the day, except we expand the rice field and Seven does a little cleanup and organization. Concluding the night, we can keep an eye on Seven's disturbed sleep mood penalties, as they should go away in the coming hours. The next morning in the caves, we can reinstall the glow pod to be beside the research table, as it is more efficient to place this limited light source beside the longer tasked workstations. Moving on, we can start to paint and color all the parts of the monument we build black to give a true void feel. In addition to the human corpse zone that we made last episode, we can also make a zone for only rotten animal corpses, as the dead iguana apparently doesn't look great. Currently realizing that black is actually, well, black, we can readjust the tone of it, just a tad. Yes, much better. With the newly created dumping stockpile zone comes a new annoying problem. All those dead animals on the map? Yeah, our colonists want to haul all of them now. Firstly, Rena spotting a dead ibex ram, then a raccoon, and finally a hare. Finally, I think that's all the dead unforbidden animals on the map. Oh, no, Pickle found one too. Slowly continuing with the monument construction, we can place several walls around the main room, which won't be helpful in any way, but we kind of have to do it if we want to complete the monument. So to prepare for the future construction and clear out our base a little bit, we can set up all of these stone chunks to be hauled. Meanwhile, both Pickle and Gideon have leveled up, helping our colonists to be just that little bit faster at all their tasks. Checking back with our prisoner Trobo, his resistance seems to be dropping relatively quickly, this time taking off nearly 2 points in one attempt. With nothing extraordinary happening for a long while, we finally get a message showing us that we have completed the research of the recurve bow. So we can now move on to tree sowing after we have researched the great bow. In terms of the monument construction, it seems that a good supply of wood has come out of it so far. And with this means the very slightly expansion of our stockpile zone, which will probably continue to grow this way until we get another one. Talking about construction, I think that it's about time that our colonists get their own actual beds. So we can place 3 limestone beds to take the place of those crummy sleeping spots. With food running low, the next morning we can set some berry bushes to be harvested and unforbid this Arctic wolf killed by the nearby wog, seemingly just above it. Rena now finishing the last limestone bed for our colonists isn't the only good thing happening, as Seven and Pickle have now become new lovers. So to add one more thing for Rena to build, we can place a double bed and assign both colonists to it, which will give a decent mood boost. When night comes around, we can set these 3 marble blocks to be mined as they are adjacent to both indoors and outdoors. And I think these ones are the best to start with. With the mistake of having them being mined out right before bed, the colonists go right to sleep without having time to replace these spaces in the walls. So to fix this, we can wake up Pickle and do just that. It seems that we have our first major break risk in a while, coming from Gideon, as he has been attempting to romance Pickle too many times. We can't do anything about this, but hope that it doesn't otherwise work. 7 would have a mood penalty forever. After selecting the blocks at the prison wall to be mined and then replaced, I now notice that with all these recently constructed beds, we have a spare bedroll. So to put this into good use, we can reinstall it in Trobo's cell. But before any of that happens, a raid from the Extreme Society is beginning. Let's see how extreme it really is. Well, it doesn't look like anything out of the ordinary, as we are up against some pirates with a knife and a club. And with a very familiar technique, we position our colonists beside the water as the raiders come in. We can see that Pat is much better than Minnow at melee combat, so we should have 7 direct more attention to him. At this point, after the first hit, 7 disappointingly misses all 3 shots directed at Pat. And the second time's the charm, even though we can see that Marcus just got hit. And again, as we can rely on 7 to take care of the rest of the business. And once again, we can unforbid all these items and have Gideon equip the steel knife to replace the piece of wood he had for a weapon. An hour or 2 later, we can see that the top of the monument has been mined away. One could say a little too much, as our now former prisoner is effectively let out of his cell. With no other room to take Trobo, I decide to have 7 and Rena follow him until Gideon finishes building that one wall. Gideon was honestly a poor choice, but the job is finally finished, so now the next problem, arresting Trobo. With only a 68% chance of it being actually successful and a scary warning message, 7 manages to arrest Trobo with no worries, putting him back in his bedroll. With the great bow now successfully being researched, we can begin researching tree sewing. At this point, I remember that the great and recurve bow both need a minimum crafting skill. Okay, moving on. We can instead place a hand tailoring bench, as the winters in the boreal forest are not forgiving and would currently kill our colonists. Once that is finished construction, we can now see that we don't have enough of any leather to make a parka, and assign Gideon to be the only one to craft them to hopefully level up his crafting skill. Now, I have no idea why, but I only selected my plan markings to be mined out, nothing else. Also, nothing inward of them, which doesn't make much sense, but I guess 7 doesn't mind. With other issues at hand, I'm forgetting that our colonists need food and stuff. Let's harvest some berry bushes. Which reminds me, remember how our colonists were having to walk all the way around to get that metal? Well, what if we mine this away to give access to more resources? It's the next morning now, and squirrels have a 2% chance of attacking when harmed. But these 2 boom rats have a 100% chance of trying to kill us. So this time we are positioning our colonists in the water in case either one explodes, it won't set us on fire. But once again, the maddened creatures get obsessed with the area below our base and ignore everything else for now. Which isn't actually too bad for us, as Spike, the friendly neighborhood trap, lives down there. And, yeah. Anyway, now with only 1 explodey boom rat, 7, I would say, just got lucky hitting that boom rat before it got to him. Sadly, these maddened creatures don't give any yieldable meat, as they have scaria. With a now new low on food and food production, our colonists are forced to find their nourishment from berry bushes and half-eaten bunnies. We have finally got some more meals produced just before people eat raw food, which I think shows that expanding our rice farm is far overdue. As the middle of the night just passes, 2 tribespeople from the Bargabast Union are trying to raid our colony. And by the looks of it, the shooting skill on both tribalists are not amazing. But what the hell is Camel's skill set? With over 4,000 Steam hours in RimWorld, I've never seen anyone with this many passions. With no room or food left to capture anyone else, our colonists' mindset is purely defensive tonight. Oh, but it happens that the creatures in the cave will need this more than our colonists, as both raiders fall into the trap of wanting that insect jelly. No, I think they will just attack anything that's not aligned with their faction. With Red being completely swarmed and overwhelmed by insects, only the same can come for his friend Camel. But a new event I've never seen before. Void Takeover? It seems that a base far in the Rabi forest was stationed near a Void base, leading it to what seems like an easy takeover. So many ranged weapons in that cave, which leads to Rena making herself a short bow. I feel like I've been putting this off for far too long, waiting for raids to supply us with ranged weapons. But they've only been supplying the insects with such weapons. Rena, now with a normal quality shortbow and a new sense of self, can give her knife to Pickle to upgrade her previous weapon. At this point, Seven slowly chips away at the task of mining out the space for the monument, and doing a fair job as he mines all day. Only just moving on to the Muffalo Pen entrance or exit before calling it a day. On the next morning, Gideon reminds me that recreation other than sitting at a fire or walking exists. So we can place and construct a hoopstone ring to counter the now boredom for the other recreational activities. It's even going to use quite quickly. To interrupt the colony again, another raid. It looks like one may be potentially dangerous to our colony, but nothing we can't handle with our 2 ranged colonists. Or perhaps they might be the next set of raiders to succumb to the nearby insect cave. Plus, they are not attacking immediately, so we do have some time to prepare if need be. With one raid already happening, another comes. And they are from the Void itself, looking very scary, and they are attacking immediately. Now, if we look at this soldier, they are definitely fully kitted out with everything needed, including a dusk razor, and we might meet death here. Wow, this is the way to go though. He won't let you live for long, I'm guessing. But our colonists will try their best. Despite the other raid beginning their assault, the Void soldier is sniffing them out and running like the Flash. This will be a great insight into the true power of Void. And plus the other raid might do some chip damage to him before coming to us. I think less words here will be a better ending for our colonists. I would say the state of our colony right now, there was no way for a successful defense on this raid. And with the man in black coming, I think that we can save one person from suffering here. With the battle completely lost, Void taking over our planet, and no hope for us. I think it's a great place to end this series. Despite all the build up to make this monument, I totally underestimated Void and its power, and gave away my colony to them. This series has taught me an incredible amount for making a series in general, and I don't really see this as a loss, but more of a journey. Oh, and now you know that I don't use saves to cheat. Thank you so much for watching, and stay halfway.